If you want to conserve the encephalatus, you have to conserve the baboons and the monkeys around. They are actually unplanned nursery workers for it, because when they eat it, they disperse the fruits, the seeds all around the mountains, and then it regenerates. This one, I would probably say it's over 100 years.
Wow.
Because if you look at the trunk, you see how the ones in there, how small they are when they start. But for this, to get this, I think is over 100 years. Because if you count the scales, each scale represents a year. But this year, we distributed over 10,000 seedlings to different communities. The African carnelian, they call Atili, is the one we have distributed over 3,000. And you know it's indigenous to this place. We distributed locust bean, mahogany, eucalyptus, malina, Cygesium.
This is Andrew, a young passionate environmentalist whose organization is helping to conserve encephalatus, an endangered species or cycad plant that is only found in 12 villages in Nigeria and nowhere else in the world, according to research and a statement from a former French ambassador to Nigeria. Cycad are often referred as living fossils as they have been around for millions of years, dating back to the time when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
My name is Andrew Nyagwan. I'm a co-founder and operation manager of West African Environmental Conservation Initiative, and also a founder of Spectagro Nature Conservation Initiative in partnership with Crescendo Afforestation. And we are into, of course, climate change nature-based solutions, and that is what we are doing here. And as you can see, this is a standard living lab nursery in Giling Community, Kaduna District, Panshin local government area of Plateau State. There's a particular species of tree which they call is from the cycad family, Encephalatus bacteria, Allocrus, which is an endangered species and is unique to this part of the world. And the botanist said it has been existing for over 100 million years, and it's the first plant to bear or to reproduce a seed.
Okay.
So when we came across this information from the former French ambassador, and we said, okay, we would look for it. And then we came to this region, we found it with my boss, Papa Yves. And then from then, we invited the French ambassador and he came. And subsequently he said it's an endangered species, we need to protect it. And that was why we created the NGO, the West African Environmental Conservation Initiative. First and foremost, to protect the endangered species, and of course to engage in other climate-based solution practices, like creating of awareness. Because for us, we think the most important thing is to create awareness about the environment, nature, climate change. Because the awareness is the information and that's the power. And after we have done some creation of awareness and sensitization, we said, okay, we needed to build a nursery where we can reproduce in situ the encephalatus plants. And that is why we have created this facility, and that is what we have been doing. But apart from the cycad, we are looking at indigenous and economic trees too, that are unique to these areas. So apart from the cycad, we are into creation of awareness and sensitization and forestry and afforestation projects, all to fight climate change adverse effects. Welcome to Giling Nursery in Kaduna District. So this is basically our compound. It is 70 by 80 meters, and then we generate plants. This is locust bean, pacchia, call it pacchia, and we have some tamarind. And this is albizia lebec, which is a fodder for animals and for it puts nitrogen in the soil. We have the Samania saman, and then we have the stipulata. Yes, stipulata is albizia stipulata. Yes. Actually,
that's something we call as children anyway. We are speaking the scientific, they will call it touch and die. I was thinking.
Yeah, it looks like it when you touch, it opens and closes. Yes, yes. And you know, good enough. These seeds were brought from Togo. From one of my bosses. and then we regenerated them to show we have capacity to regenerate. So you know, all these places before were filled with seedlings, but this year we distributed over 10,000 seedlings to different communities around, families, compounds, schools, primary health care clinics, and organizations all around were donated. They came, they took them, and we documented all the people that took the plants with their contacts for follow-up and evaluation.
And this is free?
It's free.
Okay, so let me even ask, like, do you have a record, because you say documented, do you have a record like how many seedlings you've given us so far?
Yes, I think Mr. Peter here, my staff, we have every single one, we have documented it. So I'm sure Mr. Peter, we have done at least over 10,000. Yes, because all the nursery and all these beds were filled up, but we distributed this year, and we continue to distribute. We are still, because all these ones will still have to go for planting this year. So the carnarium, which is the Attili, the African carnarium, they call Attili, is the one we have distributed over 3,000. And you know it's indigenous to this place. We distributed locust bean, mahogany, eucalyptus, malina, Cygesium, which is malmo, a fruit tree. So we have done all that, and we continue. Now we have cleared the nursery, and we intend to start regeneration. As you can see, we have continued to regenerate again. And then we generated some encephalatus, the endangered species. We have young ones here in the blown away greenhouse. So I can show you some of the seedlings. We are working on fixing back our. So let me take this one. So this is a young seedling of the encephalatus bacteria, the cycad. So you can see, this is how it is. We are regenerating them, and it starts to grow again. So yeah, this is start to shoot again. This is basically 1 year old. Yeah, it grows very slow, but for sure it grows. So we have some of them here that we generate. So what we intend to do is that at the end of the rainy season, we'll go into the mountains and get more seeds so that we can regenerate them. We are looking at making between 1,000 to 5,000 yearly for conservation of the encephalatus alone, and of course the other indigenous and local trees. Yes. Yeah. So this is one, it is natural habitat. And you know they are always growing on the rocks.
This one, you didn't plant it?
No, natural habitat. That's why I wanted you to come and see. So you will find them like this in their natural habitat. And we believe they grow on the rocks because there's a particular mineral they can derive from the rocks. Yeah. So there's one here. And if you look now, you can see them on the, let's go to one big one. Yes, you can see them all around the mountains. Yes. Let's go closer so that we can see a big specimen. You can see them here. Good. And then there's something I want you to know, to come and see. You see the trunk of the encephalatus doesn't go vertical, it goes horizontal. Yes, one of the unique features. And for this one, I would probably say it's over 100 years. Because if you look at the trunk, you see how the ones there, how small they are when they start. But for this, to get this, I think it's over 100 years. Because if you count the scales, each scale represents a year. And if you look at how many on this one.
Now that even brings me to a question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Because I know in places like South Africa, this plant is regarded very highly and it's very expensive.
Exactly. And in South Africa, they have a very good control system whereby some of them, they put chips, microchips on them to trace them in case they are being trafficked illegally. So we are getting there, but South Africa, you're right, has gone far. And they have a different species, but of course the cycad family. So what they do is that they put chips, microchips on their own to control illegal trafficking. Yes.
But I was about to ask, do you have those issues of people coming here? And again, because when you put out videos like this, the good, the bad, the ugly, but they will see.
Yes,
so
yes.
I don't want to be exposing it to danger at the same
Yes.
time with any control system.
Yeah, basically for now, just the leadership, the traditional leadership. They are the ones we have spoken to try to control the trafficking. But I've seen few of them in town, in Panshin town, and even in Jos, that people from these regions, they take young ones to sell in towns. I've seen few. Yes, so that is a growing threat. Yeah, so I think that's where the major stakeholders like the government should come in, make laws. And that is why we are pushing for the sanctuary, the sacred sanctuary. And once we have the gazette, of course, we are going to pursue a bill to make the whole 12 villages a sanctuary, so you cannot come and destroy and take things illegally. There will be no hunting, no felling of trees, and of course, no illegal trafficking of the sacred itself. That is why we need the sanctuary, and we are pursuing it. Let's see. Yeah. And if you check, they are all around the mountains. Of course. So, and that is part of right now, we are collaborating with the University of Jos Plant Science Department, and they are planning to come to this region to take a botanical survey of whatever we have here. So eventually researchers will come in and they will make research and give accurate details of age and species and everything.
Probably discover more species that you guys probably don't know.
Exactly. We were general environmentalists. We want it to be left the way it is, and then the professionals can come in and guide us and make policies and guidelines. Yeah. And you can, as you can see, the place is very touristic and beautiful. Yes. So, and if you look, they are all around the mountains. You see them. Yes. So this is their natural habitat. And there are monkeys and baboons on this hill. Sometimes you even see them from here. You can see them, the baboons moving, and the male ones, they bark like a dog. You can see the male, the big one, he will sit down while the others are passing. So we have them here. And some of our activities for the environment has really helped them to begin to strive. Because before the hunters, we are shooting them. But when we came, we spoke to the hunters, and then they stopped, and they are striving now. Yes, and then they come close, and of course, now they even go to the farm to take some maize and everything. So, it's always like that when give and take. This is our storage for planting materials. We have the cattle waste, we have the sharp sand, all we mix to have a good balance for the seedlings. So this is storage. And then here we have the pits for compost production to generate organic materials for planting. So these 7 pits are for compost production. We make compost with it. It's just that, this one is almost ready. You can come and see this one. So it's purely organic materials. No sand, no plastic, nothing. Just organic materials. And you can see the process. All the grass will start to decay, and you can have a good compost at the end of the process. So that is what we do. So when we clean the place, all the grasses, all the organic materials are put here, and we convert it to compost, which is a good organic material. We have our restroom, which we use the local architecture. Yes, so that's the restroom. And of course, we have a good water supply system. We have a borehole, functional borehole with 2 tanks, capacity of 10,000 liters. Because of course, the dry season we need a lot of water for thousands of seedlings. So, and then we can go into the nursery. So this is an encephalatus plant. This is a big one, probably more than 10 years. We have the worker shade, and we had our seedling beds, which was filled up with seedlings, which we distributed. The 10,000 plus were all here before. So now we start to regenerate Jatropha, caucus here. This is Albizia. All were filled up and we have distributed them all. So we have some eucalyptus remaining. We have Sigesium, which is Malmo. And we have the mahogany, that's the kaya. So basically all these were filled up but distributed this year, and we start to fill them up again. So probably by the next year rainy season, we should have another 10 to 15,000 seedlings generated here for distribution again. The vegetative cover, or the trees and the plants, to me I see it is like the lungs of the earth.
Okay.
Because they are cleaning up the negative emissions of the CO2.
Yes.
And then giving us oxygen.
Yes.
So you can imagine it cannot be overstated how important this the vegetative cover is.
Yes.
You know, number one, it helps a lot. You know, it gives good air. It gives cover against the adverse weathers like rainstorms. It's a windbreaker. It controls flood. Okay. Of course, and it deposits organic materials, that's the leaves, back into the soil. So it helps in soil fertility. You understand? Yeah. So, and you know, the issue of this deforestation, which is a big problem we are facing, of course, it changes the whole permutation of the climate. Like before, we know in these regions, by this time now, it's supposed to be extremely cold. In the rainy season, this is the peak of the rainy season about to leave, and we have not had this cold feeling, which is common to this area. It's hot in the afternoon, you know, and everything. And these are the effects of deforestation. Yes. Because the vegetative cover cools the atmosphere and retains moisture. Yes. It fights droughts, it fights deforestation, it fights desertification. So you cannot you overemphasize the importance of the climate. And of course, the rivers, we are losing river bodies, water bodies, because of the average heat. The temperature have increased. Because the more you reduce the vegetative cover, the more you allow heat to be trapped in the atmosphere. Okay. So it dries up the water bodies, and then of course you know what that will lead to lead to droughts, and of course famine in the long term when people cannot reproduce from their lands again. So it is really here with us. The climate change negative effect, we can almost touch it. It's either there's too much rainfall or there's no rainfall. So it's two extremes because of, and all this is caused by human activities in the environment. Yes, exactly. So that is basically what is happening.
Well, let's talk about some of the very important projects that I see you are doing here. When we are coming, you touched a little bit about it, and that is, you know, encouraging communities to actually plant trees and use it as a fencing in their farms. So that actually will help to, you know, first of all, mitigate the issue of land boundaries, and also mitigate the issues of encroaching of animals, cattle into their land, where we are having this cattle headers problem. Just tell us about it.
So basically, when we started our project, we wanted to do afforestation projects whereby we can plant thousands of trees, of course, to fight the climate change negative effects and everything. But when we came on ground, we noticed that because of the high number of cattle and headers within these regions, it dawned on us that if we plant these trees, indigenous and economic trees in their thousands, of course we can lose it in one day when all these cattle pass through, because sometimes they are in their thousands, and if they pass through a field where we have young trees, like you have seen, then it's finished. So now we had to modify our project to secure the farmlands first, and that is why the idea of the live fencing came in. And we said, okay, what we have to do is to secure the farmlands before we can do any afforestation project. And what we had to do was to identify some species of plants that repel animals and animals don't eat. Like in our project, we are using gum arabic, which is the Arabica senegalese, and then we have Jatropha cocos. These two plants are not being eaten by animals. So we said, okay, we are going to incorporate them in the live fencing to secure the farmlands and prevent animals from getting into the farmlands. And in the first or second year, once these live fences are pronounced and solid, then we can do the afforestation projects for indigenous trees and economic trees. So basically, that is what we are doing now. Secure the farmlands before we start afforestation projects, and that is what we are doing presently. Of course, there's a lot of challenges, and we still have challenges like when we see some cattle going around and marching on the live fences, and then we have to now look at the solution of how to stop that. But basically, secure the farmlands, and then we can secure afforestation projects.
So how are you actually implementing it? Are you doing it yourself, or the farmers are actually the ones doing it?
Yes, this is a very good question, because we now had to present the project to the farmers, and they are the main stakeholders.
Oh, okay.
So we spoke to them, we told them about the importance of this project, and they wholeheartedly accepted it. Okay. So basically what we do is that they will prepare the land, we will supply the seedlings to them free, and they will plant it.
Beautiful.
So that is what we are doing.
So that makes it very sustainable in a long period of time. Okay, so that means in terms of acceptance of this project has been very well.
It has been very well.
Okay, yes. So can we say that, most farms here are already beginning to do that?
Yes, most farms have started to do it.
Okay.
And of course, we have to even slow some of them now, because we have a specific number of trees to plant this year.
Okay.
So we don't want them to overshoot, because it's going to be a yearly procedure. As long as we have funding. Everything is funding.
Nice.
But so far so good. The acceptance, the cooperation from the stakeholders, the traditional rulers, down to the villagers themselves has been really wonderful.
So these very projects you just talked about, is it only in this community that you're actually testing it out, or you've tried to do it in other places?
Yes, we are working in 3 districts.
Okay.
In Parishin local government, which is the Kaduna district where we are now. And we have the Fair district, which we passed earlier on, and then we have the Parishin North, which is Balankalep side.
Okay.
So these are the 3 districts we are working presently. But of course, we intend to expand based on the success of this project this year. We intend to expand to cover the whole 17 local government of the state and beyond. We are trying to develop agroforestry, which is crops and trees. They always have a good synergy, because some of these trees, like the Lucania, the one inside there is what we call the Lucania. It's very rich in depositing nitrogen in the soil. It's also a fodder crop for animals, and of course people eat it in some part of the world. But that is what we are demonstrating, putting nitrogen into the soil in between the ridges. We have a smaller one for 10 meters inside the nursery, where we demonstrated cropping and trees. So agroforestry is the way to go. You can maximize the land, you can get economic fruits. When the trees are grown, it will drop leaves, it will control erosion, it will control flooding, and of course then you can have the economic value and you can continue to crop. This is a demonstration of agroforestry. We crop the center with the sweet potatoes, and you see on the side, at 10 meters intervals, we have the Lucania, which fixes nitrogen into the soil and acts as a windbreaker. And of course it will control flooding. And so this is a demonstration at 10 meters. We have the sweet potato in between. Select particular trees that have a long straight feature and the canopy on top. And of course, when a young tree is growing, you can trim the branches on the side to keep the canopy on top, so it does not take your land. As you can see, we will always have access of these 10. No matter how big these ones will grow, they will have access to the 10 meters, 10 meters, 10 meters. So you have to incorporate it. Some trees get so big that you have to use 20 meters in between, some 30 meters, some 10 meters, depending on the size, because some of these trees can go really big. Like the African carnelian can become a giant tree. So when you are planting it, you have to give enough space in between each one. It can be 20 meters to 30 meters, because the canopies can be big and can reach 30 meters canopy. Once you engage in this kind of practices, you apply less fertilizer, which is synthetic, because the trees like this fix nitrogen, just like we have the locust bean tree. It fixes nitrogen in the soil. So once you have it on your farmland, you use less or zero synthetic fertilizer, NPK. So you can incorporate it gently. And the trees, they will drop their leaves, which will be incorporated as organic material, giving fertility to the soil. So in that case, it's going to be a win-win situation. So we are demonstrating so that we can tell. It gets a shade. Exactly, once your tree is grown. So that is what we are doing. We demonstrate so that when we talk, we can show you that we are doing it.
What are your general challenges just carrying out this project in the last 5 years, basically?
Number one, funding.
Okay.
funding, and of course, number 2, basically technical support, because we're a young NGO with a big heart. There's a lot of challenge, there's been a lot of discouragement, but we believe that what we are doing is right. So whatever the challenge, we will continue to go on that way. So there's the challenge of funding, technical support, and of course the lack of awareness of the importance of climate change mitigation practices. So there's still a lot to do in creation of awareness and sensitization. So basically those are the challenges now.
Okay. So if someone wanted to reach out to your organizations in terms of sponsorship or in terms of support, your contacts are all there and you're all open for this.
We are.
Okay, so you can check the description of this video, and I'm going to drop their contacts there, his phone number and all of that, so you can reach out to them if you're one of those organizations who are also very passionate about the environment and you want to support the work they are doing. You can actually check the description of this video and you'll find it there.
I would like to encourage the general public to go green. Basically, going green is that you have to plant more trees, you have to take care of the environment, and one of the challenges is waste management. It's part of the negative effects.
Yes.
Because if you don't properly take care of your waste, it blocks the waterways, the canals and everything. It leads to flooding, it leads to loss of lives and properties and everything. So people should have a new outlook and think green. And there's a lot of green skills now, because the social economic aspect too. The green movement can really help a lot of youths that are jobless. There's so many things you can do in the green sector.
Okay.
You understand?
Can you give us an example?
Good.
Okay.
Like you can go into forestry projects.
Okay.
You can go into farming. That's using best management practices. You can go into creation of awareness. You can go into waste management. And then, of course, there's a lot of more technical aspect like data management. Because right now, there's no data on the kind of waste or the quantity of waste we have and the processes of which we are taking care of it. So it's a big industry where people can come in and still make economic gains. So I think that is what I would have to say. But go green, plant trees, make the world green again.
Make the world green again. What an exceptional quote that's coming from Mr. Andrew. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the very next one.